Today we're doing a build video on this more premium planter box with X bracing. First we're going to start off with our fence picket. Today I'm using treated, but I typically use cedar. We're going to go ahead and measure out to 28 inches, make a mark, and then we go ahead and line it up. We'll make our cut, and this will become the length of the side of the box. We're going to have to repeat this cut a couple times to avoid measuring every time. I stack them on top, line it up, make a cut. We'll need a total of 2 per side, so 4 for one box. Go ahead and measure out our next pieces. We're going to cut them at 10 3/4 inches. I have this little makeshift stop block that I use here to make quick repeatable cuts. We're going to go ahead and cut these pieces out of a new fence picket. We're going to need a total of 9 of these for the build. And then what was left over after cutting 2 of the 28-inch pieces from those fence pickets, we can cut a 10 3/4 inch piece off of that as well to save some. Then we're going to move over to the table saw. We're going to rip one piece at 1 3/4 inches. If you just go a blade width or 16 inch lower than that, you'll be able to get multiple pieces out. And then we're going to adjust the fence over to 1 1/8 inches. The 1 1/8 pieces we're going to cut first, and we're going to cut those to 13 inches. This is going to be one of the 2 pieces we use to make the leg. Then we're going to cut the 1 3/4 inch wide piece to the same length of 13 inches. We'll need 4 of each of these, and these are again going to make up the corners that become our legs. At the assembly, we need to find the 28-inch pieces and pick the sides that you like that are nicer to face you. And then we're going to use the 1 1/8 pieces to make our leg. We're going to line those up with a bead of glue and use our 18 gauge brad nailer with a 1-inch brad nail to fasten those on. We do that for each side. And then we're going to come to the end here. We're going to stand the piece upright, and we're going to add our 1 3/4 pieces to make our corner to nail our sides into. And we're going to do these for both sets of 28-inch boards. If you guys are liking this build, please like and subscribe to follow along for more content coming up. Then we go back to the table saw with the remaining piece of the last time that we ripped it. Rip it to 1 3/4 again, along with 2 more pieces. Those 2 more pieces will become the top and bracing. The skinny piece that was left over last visit to the table saw, we're going to use that as a nailer for like a cleat to put our bottom of our planter box in. So we're going to line up a bead of glue and then take our brad nailer and go along there and nail that on. This is going to hold the floor to our planter box. And like all assembly, we tend to come across a point when we realize that we ran out of nails. So we'll restock that and keep moving. We'll go through quite a few brad nails. Here we're going to start doing the X bracing. I like to take just one piece instead of messing with figuring out angles because I don't have the brain power for that. I line it up there and take some quick marks, make a line, take it over to my miter saw, and then I'll adjust the miter saw to match the line that I drew there. We'll just cut one end so we can make a test fit and make it line up perfectly. Then we'll mark and do the same thing to the other end. And of course, it didn't fit, so I made another cut. After test fitting that, and I marked the other side, and now I'm cutting it to length with this angle. That piece fit, so now I'm going to come back to the miter saw and I'm just going to copy it for the other side so I don't have to remark everything again. And I'm going to cut it just a little bit long, and then I can trim it to fit perfectly. I take a piece of the cutoff there, already had the same angle on it, just flipped it over, and we're going to mark where it intersects the longer piece to help make our X bracing here. After a couple visits to the miter saw, it fits great. And we're going to go ahead and glue and nail in the long piece. This will give us a firm center section for us to keep fitting our pieces on. I'm going to go ahead and copy that short piece. I'm going to make 4 of them. That way I have enough to do both sides. Now we're going to take our 2 sides that are completed, stand them up, run a bead of glue down the edge, and we're going to insert our 10 3/4 inch pieces. Let's start at the top and line them up, slide in at the bottom. When we flip this over, we have to be careful not to twist it and break it apart, and repeat the same process on this end. Once we complete this, we'll set it on top of its legs and then add a bead of glue, and then we're going to space out our floor. Start at one end and the other end when you bring them in. That way the middle piece will be just a little bit shy of the full width of a picket. That would keep the smaller piece in the center. Test fit it, measure, cut it down, and then insert it. And then I like to go ahead and add a few drain holes for the bottom of the planter box. Apparently I didn't hit record as I was mocking up these pieces, but you can go ahead and get the idea from here. We'll repeat the same step as grabbing a piece, marking one end, double checking that the angle fits for the other end, and then we'll take some short pieces and do the same thing to make the X cross. Then we'll go ahead and nail that up. And these are all the 1 3/4 width boards. Some more glue and brad nails. It's a pretty common woodworker thing. Cut things into small pieces and spend a lot of time gluing and joining them back together. So I line up the top pieces here, start with a 45 on one end, and then I mark it to length, cut my 45 on that end. And then what I do is I double check it, and then I check it to the other side of the box to see if it lines up as well. If it does, I'll take it over to my miter saw, duplicate it, and then the leftover piece of that, I bring it over to here to my box, and I will take the already cut 45, fit it on the end cap, make my cut, double check that it fits here, double check it fit on the other side, and then I will go make another copy of that one. Then run a nice bead of glue around the whole perimeter. Go ahead and start nailing it in place. I like to go a little overboard brad nails on these, and in the corners I like to nail them together as well to hopefully prevent them from moving and pulling apart as it weathers. I like to shoot the corners in at a bit of an angle, so hopefully when people pick up on the edge. And then that is it. She is completed, and it turned out pretty well. That's what it looked bare. And then I'm going to put a white finish on this one. All in all, I have about $20 to $25 in Pickets if you went with cedar, and then the cost of whatever finish you want to put on it or bare finish. I would probably charge $120 for it in bare cedar for the amount of materials and labor to have in it. Roughly $25 in materials and cedar, and then about 2 hours of labor. I would have to charge right at $200 for one box that they want to finish on it. With the additional cost in the finish and the labor, that's about what it works out to. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.